All right, The Yellow Wallpaper is a classic short story written by Charlotte Perkins Gilman and published in 1892. It's been adapted for stage and audio plays, even an episode of The Twilight Zone.
Now it's inspired a Madison original one-woman musical produced by Theater of Madison.
Michael Bruno goes backstage to check out The Yellow Wallpaper.
When I was a child, I'd run to my room, and there I was never alone.
It's actually a book, and it's a book about a woman who arrives at this convalescent home and is put into this room where she becomes fascinated with the yellow wallpaper. It's clear that she had some trauma prior to arriving to this convalescent home.
When I was a child, I passed down the hall, a route I would take every day.
The author is Charlotte Perkins Gilman, and it was written in 1892. Something similar had happened to Gilman at the time, and it wasn't exactly the same. But I believe that she did have a baby. She did go through lots of postpartum depression. Of course, that's not what they called it at the time.
Like the rattle of an earthquake, like a far-off drum. What has come? What has come?
This is the late 1800s. It was always a diagnosis of hysteria, and so they did different therapies that were not working, and then she ends up in this room, isolated. This was her way of expressing the anger towards, the men that would, treat it as if it was just, again, it was hysteria, and then they left it at that.
I lie here until the catch in my breath makes me sure I'm awake.
And what did you think about turning it into a musical?
As I read it, I could see it on stage. That's what I do with a lot of the things I read. And it's so vivid that I could picture everything that was going on in the book on stage and being acted out.
The language is already so musical, and it felt like the progression of a musical, and there's so many places for songs and for emotion and also to take the action forward.
What are you doing, little girl, what are you doing up and about? What?
Slowly she becomes engulfed and entranced with the yellow wallpaper, and sort of peels back all of these layers until, which is, in my mind, I correlated with she was peeling back the layers in her mind as she, deteriorated, and it went further and further down the rabbit hole.
You can see that I'm not gaming. It gets worse each time you go.
And of course, the feminism issues that exist, they weren't intersectional, unfortunately, but it was given new life in the 60s and 70s with the feminist movement at that time. So a lot of people read it and saw it as a sort of a cry against abuse, and it's all of those things. And then it's just a character study.
I think of the renting, the wrenching, the tearing that pulled that thing out of its home.
It's just watching somebody fall apart and wondering what they're seeing. And then you have to paint that picture yourself, which is what I think is the most exciting part for the audience.
Does it come from the walls or from me? Have you been waiting for me? Have you been waiting for me?
Michael joins us now. Boy, for Megan, that's quite a performance. This is one person.
It's amazing. It's a tour de force for her. She's the only person on stage, and she sings her guts out in this.
And the music is, it almost sounds like opera. Is it opera music?
It's very operatic. It's Aaron McConnell and Evan Lang adapted from the book. And they wrote all original music and all original lyrics, but it follows, the short story, to the letter, and it's very operatic. It just, goes through all of these emotions that this woman has.
And as we mentioned, it's been a stage play. It's been, I think, a movie as well, and an episode of Twilight Zone.
they've done many things with it, which is amazing since it was written in the late 1800s, and they've always tried to adapt to do different things. And Megan is amazing at finding these little-known pieces of books and theater and turning them into like original musicals. And it's pretty fascinating.
And this is the world premiere tonight.
It is, yes.
The Yellow Wallpaper. It's at the Play Circle Theater at the Memorial Union tonight at 7:30. It's also virtual, so you can buy a virtual ticket for tonight's performance only. And then it's Saturday at 7:30, Sunday at 2. Go to artsticketing.wisc.edu. You can buy tickets online. Again, it's at the Memorial Union.
And masks are required in the Union Theater.
Inside.
Oh, good to know. Yeah, good to know.
Yeah.
All right. So here we come. 3, 2, 1.
It's Friday. Have a good weekend.
Hi, Jim. Good to see you.
You enjoy the beautiful weather.
Yeah, get outside and enjoy.